Take a very Japanese track hidden up in the mountains. Then throw onto it the most American car you can find in the form of the Legends Ford 34 Coupe. Now pour some alcohol on top of things. This is a recipe for either disaster or fun, perhaps both. But that's the sort of mixes they like here as they get ready to watch 4 Drink Friday. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Okayama went from Formula One fame to mainly seeing club racing action, so it may not be as familiar to most of our fans. Let's head to our track guide to learn more about it. Welcome to Okayama International Circuit. Located an hour's drive northeast of its titular city, it sits nestled among the green, lush hills in southern Japan. Built in 1990, it's most well known for the 2 visits Formula One made in 94 and 95. But since then, national and international touring car series have come to race here as well. Otherwise, the 2 available layouts are mostly used for club racing and amateur track days. The full course is just under 4 kilometers with 11 turns, and the short version is a measly 2 kilometers with 7 turns. It does this by cutting out the portion between Williams and Revolver. While hairpins abound throughout the lap, overtakes tend to be surprisingly hard. The first corner, Atwood Curve, and Hairpin are the main spots where drivers can attempt a traditional pass. Hairpin makes for unique battles though. The unusually steep banking for a road course, plus the switchback into Revolver, means that holding it around the outside can reward a brave driver. However, while it is a more modern facility, runoff in some places is shockingly small, and it can be easy to damage your car. This section in particular around Revolver, Piper, and Redmond gets slightly claustrophobic. The pit entry requires some practice since you must use the inside lane of Mike Knight, otherwise you'll get a penalty. While it might not see as much use in the real world, here on iRacing, this track is part of the base content, and so new road racers will find themselves here frequently. With it being suitable for a wide range of styles of cars, it's sure to excite many of the competitors who tackle it. Well, DJ, we have a base content car and a base content track, but never the 2 shall meet, at least until tonight.
Most certainly, Joe. You know, these little Legends cars, they are more akin to turning left on a normal basis, but on a counterclockwise or a clockwise circuit like this, they're going to be doing a lot of right turns, so it'll make things interesting. Now, these cars are a handful to always drive no matter where you are, but it's going to be very, very difficult no matter what we do. Going into the first corner and through that really first sequence up through Pipers, that's going to be very difficult on these suspensions. They're going to have to be careful not to let the cars run too wide. And it's very similar again in the way that it goes through 4, 5, 6 and back out into the last corner. Now, as is always the case at Okayama, even in these little Legends cars, it's going to be very difficult to overtake. The best opportunity will be into the first corner, but even then, I wouldn't hold my breath out for a whole lot of on-track passing.
Well, unless we have mistakes, and with the amount of alcohol that's going to be consumed, I'm sure those will be plentiful. Before we get to the racing, let's talk about our sponsors, which include, of course, Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. And Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Now, let's take a look at today's race details real quick. Of course, as we mentioned, it is 4 Drink Friday. If you're not familiar with that format, they've got a 40-minute race, and today it'll be in the Legends 34 Coupe with the Okayama short course. They must drink 4 12-ounce adult beverages before the race is over, and we'll get into the specifics of those rules here in a moment. It is fixed setup, so they don't have to fiddle with that, and it's not really going to be about being fast around here anyways, as you can tell by just the brief introduction of the format. Right now, they are in the midst of qualifying with Peyton Howell leading the qualifying session provisionally. So, taking a glance at those drinking rules, DJ, why don't you give a real a real rough explanation of kind of the nitty-gritty of what we're talking about when we say 4 adult beverages?
Well, so what these guys have to do is they will have 4 12-ounce adult beverages in front of them, or if their preferred spirit is maybe a shot of something or something like that, that's totally fine. But they also have to drink an equal amount of water to even it out, so you can't sort of circumvent it by having 4 glasses of wine instead of 4 full beers. Now, the catch with all of that is that in order to consume those beverages during the course of the race, the car has to come to a complete stop. You cannot be moving when you do it. Now, there are many strategies that get employed over the course of the race to do that. We've seen some guys pull off at the beginning of the race and take down 2 or 3 of their beverages right off the top. That's a good strategy, although the inebriation tends to gather up rather quickly during the course of the race, and that can present some challenges when we get to the end of our 40-minute run. The other flip side of that is you can sort of do stops along the way. 10 laps in, you stop and take a drink, and go on, so on and so forth. We've also seen some guys wait until the end and try to do the reverse of that opening lap strategy, try to delay the delayed reactions that would come from consuming those beverages. So, yes, it's a fun little concept that it's always for a good time, but there's actually some really kind of fascinating strategy that get involved with how to do this just right.
Yeah, but ultimately, as you mentioned, it is all just for fun and silliness here and always gives us a good giggle. You might see a few drivers with a little parenthesis next to their name. Make sure and look out for them because they do want this to be inclusive, and which I think is awesome because not everybody is either of age or has the ability to drink tonight, or maybe they just simply don't want to. Johnson, Michael W. Johnson, is one of those. His reasoning is actually quite interesting. But essentially, that little DD that you see in there is because they are a designated driver. Now, just like a real designated driver, they are not drinking. And instead, they will be asked to make a certain amount of pit stops to equal it out, to make sure that they still get to have a fun time with everybody. But they are at least hampered enough as everyone else will be having to make stops. Corey Lotvilla is the DD tonight. Michael Johnson is the DD. I see Curtis Critchley as well. Now, I mentioned Johnson. His reasoning is because he is actually a professional race car driver, and occasionally he has to wake up and race the next day, so he can't exactly have too many drinks before he hits the race the next day. So his reasoning is a very valid one that he can't down a few beers tonight as we watch Hindre, who sits in 5th position. And that last lap not going to be quicker for that number 71, unfortunately. Now, I love racing these cars on road courses. This is honestly one of my favorite of the base content to take out onto road courses, DJ. They almost feel like a go-kart to me, as Rondeau demonstrates. They can be difficult, though.
They really, really can. And Joe, you're right. It's just the suspension, the way that there's movement in the car, it feels like you just think about, flicking the car to the right, and that's immediately where it's going to go. They're super light frames, a little overpowered, so you've got to worry about a little bit of wheel spin when you're coming out of it. And, as you said, it's base content, so a lot of guys come up driving these on the iRacing sim, so they're very familiar with them. But as the joke I made at the top, they're familiar with them to turn left. We normally see them as oval cars, and so taking them out like this, it just presents a whole nother thing. And really and truly what makes it so much fun is just the pitch and roll you get in the car. It can really throw you off if you're not careful.
So we'll see who can handle that on top of taking a whole bunch of drinks on top of it. As Polini comes across, and he's not going to improve that time by. Laps are very brief around here, so they'll get a lot of chances to iterate in the qualifying. I see Peyton Howell also crossing. He's still in 3rd, but 2nd row, not a bad place to be. Just has to try and improve by less than 1/10 of a second to get onto the front row. Mark Rondeau, who has my favorite paint scheme tonight. That's the other thing that we tend to see here is an homage to Dumb and Dumber, a classic comedy that I definitely grew up on. And that is definitely among the more clever paints I've ever seen on iRacing.
It really is. I have not seen that one before, Joe, and I am all kinds of about it. I wish whenever he would go over a curb that they would get this sort of floppy tail like that they would actually get in the original Mutz mobile.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that in iRacing. Now, the cool news is they've brought in a few, I guess, I don't know how you describe them, freelancer guests. The Speed Ventures folks, which is another club in California, is joining the Porsche Owners Club, which is the main group that races here. And they've invited them to come join them. And that's why we've got a nice, healthy field of 16 drivers. Actually, I think 18 even, but we're lacking Michael Ost and Ron E. out there still. I'm not sure if they intend to try and return in these last few minutes before we get to the grid. Rondeau's last lap, not going to go better than his 1-flat-1. So we look at Critchley, who sits in 10th. He's got a 1-flat-060. Let's see if this one's any quicker as he crosses the line. And the 54, he is shy by less than 1/10 of a second.
And Joe, you saw that little wiggle he had coming out of that final corner. That definitely cost him some time. We ride on board now with Matthew Hollander. Hollander not going to be able to improve here. It looks like Polini comes to the line, able to improve by 0.04 of a second.
Jeffrey Schulem sitting in 14th. He's got a 109, and it is a 102.4 that time through, so that's not going to do him any better. Russell, in the meantime, who sits in 9th, does not improve either. So we go to Hernandez, who is in 16th. And that lap actually didn't count. Must have had an off track somewhere around. So Latvala still holding that pole position. Critchley, once again, back off of the final corner. Let's see if this one's going to be quicker. Last time was awful close. Oh my goodness, 0.08 off this time.
Curtis just can't get it all dialed in. Here comes Michael Bolton to the line. Now that's something that may help him out a little bit. Okay, didn't help as much as I thought, but he's picking up a little bit of a toe with some of the guys behind. That may be something to keep an eye out for. Jeffrey Schulem now coming to the line as we tick under 1:40 to go here. Looks like Schulem's not going to be able to improve on this lap out.
No, sir. And behind him, Michael Johnson. A 59.8 is not quite there for his best. Pole position time right now is a 59.2. It's a bit of a spread on the track. Out of the top 15, more than 2 seconds between them. So we might see cars getting lapped very quickly.
Yeah, very much so, and that's going to create a little bit of fun out on track to see and just see how these guys will handle some lap traffic as Critchley unable to improve there again. The other thing that'll get really interesting is as these drivers take their drinks, it'll be almost like that they're put out of sequence on track. So you could see different cars on different strategies racing with each other at different stages of inebriation as well.
Yeah. I guess that's a sort of a different variation on how much fuel is in the car, how much tire wear they have, as we watch from Schulem, and still can't get under that 109.36. Manuel Hernandez, who is last on those who have put a lap in, finds it getting a little squirrely, holds on to it. Great catch, but that's not a fast way around.
No, it's not, but that's an amazing bit of car control, and I got to tell, Manuel, that is absolutely amazing. Yeah, there it is. Not able to improve, but he'll have a little bit more time to go out. Peter Monin now across the line. That's going to be a slow lap for him. Here comes Polini down to the line, currently sat in 9th. Is he going to be able to improve? He is by 0.3 of a second.
That'll put him in 6th, but the checkered flag is out. That's his last attempt. Hollander next across the line in the number 69. Doesn't go faster, but he was awful close. Wenzel also just misses out. Then we've got Michael Johnson in his number 9. He's towing along Jeffrey Schulem. Let's see if Schulem can manage to go quicker in the slipstream. Johnson doesn't go faster, and neither does Schulem.
So that's not going to help either of them. Here comes Hernandez now to the line. He is the last of the drivers that have put down a time with that 1:03.76 flat.
Yep.
Oh, and that's not going to get any better.
And that is everybody through, so nobody has a chance to try and go any faster as Latvala shows just how easy it is to flip it around and flip it right back as well. So nicely done by him. I have a feeling this is definitely going to be one of the more fun combinations that we have yet seen in this 4-Drink Friday. And that's saying something considering the rallycross cars last time at Zolder produced just a bonkers race, especially since they turned off the threat of the off tracks there. The clock ticks down as the last few seconds available in our qualifying will wrap up, and we'll give you our grid here in just a moment of what appears to be 16 cars that will take part in today's race. There we go. We've switched over. So on the pole position, it'll be one of our DDs. Corey Latvala starts on the pole with Daniel Hindra in second and Peyton Howell in third. Michael Johnson will be P4 with Bolton in fifth and Polini in sixth. It's Hollander starting P7, Levi Wenzel in eighth, and Alexander Russell in ninth. Curtis Critchley rounds out your top 10.
In ninth will be Peter Monin, followed by Mark Rondeau in 12th. AJ Lettieri will be starting off 13th, followed by Jeffrey Shulam. John Momeyer, one of your DDs, will be 15th, followed by Manuel Hernandez.
Alrighty, so we're waiting for the last of them to grid up. And again, we eagerly await to see who is going to try and pull off. And these things don't exactly get off the line just flooring it. So with this standing start, that can also throw a few out. We could see drivers that don't get off the line simply because they failed to get through cleanly. Hopefully that doesn't wreck too many here off the grid. I think Lettieri, Hindra, Hernandez, and Ron, some of our last that were waiting. Of course, our second place starter among those, Hindra, should see him pop out there. I can't imagine he would want to start from pit lane after having that sort of advantage. So just a few moments left as the clock ticks down. They only get so long before they are forced to start from the pits. There is Hindra, and we might not see Ron out there. I do see him in the session, but he didn't put a single qualifying lap in. So I'm not sure if he is going to be taking part out here today. Just about 10 seconds left. Ron's cutting it awful close if he does intend to race as we tip down to one, and he is going to have to start from pit lane if he wants to take part. So as the engines start to rev here for 4-Drink Friday, the lights come up, and the green flag is out off the line. Latvala not so hot. Hindra much better. 3 wide. It looks like between them, Howell is going to manage to thread the needle. He's going to have to go the long way around, though, and Hindra is going to take the lead away.
An absolutely mega start there from Hindra. No wheel spin at all, just able to get off the line quite well. Everybody through the first corner all right. And it doesn't look like we've had anybody really diving in to do an early drink stop here. So drivers choosing to wait. Now they work their way onto the back straightaway. Everybody's starting to fan out a little bit.
I think we got one, and that was Michael Ost, who has now gotten going. Yet again, it is close up at the front, though. Look at this. Hindra being chased as a battle for second. Erupts Howell around the outside of Latvala, who sneaks himself back up in front of him, diving underneath. Oh, no, he's heading into pit lane as Howell looks to be taking a pit stop. He might be one of our designated drivers, but simply not marked.
He is indeed. I heard on the driver's chat beforehand, and Joe, as that was happening, coming through Redmond corner, or excuse me, Hobbs corner rather, Mark Rondeau, Momeyer, Hernandez, a big schmozzle in the back, so a couple of the lead drivers getting into a little bit of damage, but this battle up front is too electric to not keep our eyes on.
Latvala poking his nose in down into the second corner. It's got to switch back into Piper, way offline there for the 71. Can we see the over-under for the 22? He's going to try for it, but he doesn't have the momentum. He could still send it in deep under braking down into Redmond, but he decides not to.
Yeah, it's a bit of a good cover off there from Hindra, but oh, there's the fight back from Latvala trying to go now. Now goes for the crossover move. Look at that!
Fantastic stuff. Hindra can't do anything to defend from it. In fact, he almost lost the car behind them. Another of our DDs in. Michael Bolton heads down the pit lane. And on to the front stretch, your top four all close together. Latvala, Hindra, Polini, Johnson.
I'm really quite amazed that that battle between Latvala and Hindra didn't allow for Polini to pull in more, but I think Polini was having to check his rearview mirrors for Michael W. Johnson behind him. But now as they continue to go on here, Latvala setting the fastest lap of the race. It looks like he's starting to build a little bit of a gap here to Daniel Hindra.
Out the back stretch once again. Oh, but a poor exit from Corey. He goes defensive. Hindra tries to go around the outside down into Redmond. It'll switch back into Hobbs, but he goes way wide and has to fall back into second one more time.
And that's going to really bring up the battle now for P2. Polini starting to close in with Johnson even closer. They pull on to this final sequence of corners once more. Let's see what they've got.
Onto the front stretch. Didn't look like the greatest of runs from Polini, but Johnson not able to capitalize. All of them speed down into the first corner. I thought we wouldn't have much passing, but this has actually been fantastic racing in the first 4 laps.
It's absolutely electric, Joe. I gotta say, I'm loving this.
Need to see a series out of these cars on road courses, because this would be a real hoot, even if the drivers were sober, as they once again speed down the back stretch. The 71 looking a little bit stronger off of Piper, but just can't get close enough to attack on Latvala. I think I see one of our drivers taking a drink, and maybe not intentionally, as Hernandez is stuck on the side of the road as he's hit the wall, I think, off of the final corner.
Yeah, he does appear to be, I think that was an off track there that he just decided to make the best out of. Had himself a beer while he was off there, so good call for Hernandez as the leaders fly by.
Ooh, Latvala poor off the final corner. Here comes Hindra. He ducks back into the slipstream, then pokes his nose out. The black number 71 deep on the binders. He manages to make the apex, but then coming off the corner, Corey Latvala once again outsmarting him, and he's going to get back up to the front. All this battling opens the door for Polini, but he hasn't stepped through yet.
I think the driver, the 51 there, Pete Polini, is just playing a little bit of a cautious game here. He sees just how much these front two are really attacking at each other, and he may just be waiting until the latter stages of the race.
Very close moment with Johnson on the back of Polini. Surprised we haven't seen Johnson come in for his pit stops yet. Assuming that DD marker is correct, he's going to have to take him eventually, but right now he seems to be quite happy trailing the top group onto the front stretch. This time, Polini with the best shot we've seen from him yet, as that white number 51 pokes his nose on the 71. This time, Daniel has to play the reverse, looking for defense, and they've got a car coming out of pit lane. That's Howell taking one of his scheduled stops. Oh, and that's going to actually cost Polini, as Michael Johnson takes advantage, almost gets to the inside of Hindra. They're still side by side through turn 2. It switches back into Piper. He can't make it happen.
Oi, 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 absolutely wrong place, wrong time there for Howell. But now this battle for P2 really starting to get up there. Johnson now poking his nose up at Hindra. Hindra runs a little bit wide. Johnson's got a better line through the corner. Hindra covers him off.
No.
Oh, they come together, all three.
And that's going to send one of them on his lid. That's Polini. Unfortunately, he's going to have to take a tow. As we take a look at the replay, I think there was some net code involved in this. Unfortunately, but it was very tight racing. It almost seemed inevitable.
Yeah, a little bit of that ghost contact that you hear us talk about. That's what caused Polini and Johnson to spin, and then that all just came together. But we're going to focus back here on our leader. This is Corey Latvala now with a 4.6 second gap to Matthew Hollander behind.
Yeah, that wreck helped him out a lot, and he is one of our DDs as well. So Corey has yet to make his stops. Hollander has his hands full. Levi Wenzel and Pete Monin is behind him.
Yeah, this is definitely a big train that we see here that is going along. I do have to say, though, directly behind Hollander, that is Peyton Howell. That is a lapped car, so he's got a little bit of a buffer in between him and third Levi Wenzel.
So this is the the off-strategy cars that you were mentioning. Some drivers just might not be racing them directly, but are still racing them, hopefully by the end. We watch from Wenzel's perspective, split by the number 46 of Peyton Howell. So we can't attack as things sit currently. But if we see a mistake from Matthew Hollander, I have a feeling he's going to be eager.
Very, very much so. And remember that these guys all, for the most part, in this second pack here, a lot of them have to still take drinks here. So that'll be interesting. But it sounds like Johnson's starting to, he's made his first non-DD stop, it sounds like.
Indeed. So Michael Johnson is going to take his drive-through. Yep. There we go. There's one. And then he is back out and rolling. Doesn't actually have to come into the pit lane, just has to do his drive-through. We look at Wenzel once again. And was this an accident, or did Wenzel stop to take a drink? I think this was to stop and get a drink.
It may have been. We watch here. This is Peter Monin. Oh, that's the number 4 of Wenzel getting a little wide, and Monin just gets rammed over there. That hurts him. Wenzel decided to make the best of it by pulling over to take a drink. But yeah, you can just see a little bit of miscommunication here from our drivers. Oh yeah, Wenzel just lost it, got a little hit in the back and said, you know what, I'll have a beer.
He's already losing time, so it's good a time as any. I was trying to check through. A lot of drivers have had their drinks. So many are here today. It's easy to lose a track of it. It looks like Monin has had 2, I see. Wenzel, I think, has had 1. And we, for the record, it is 4 stops today for the non-drinkers, for there are DDs. Wenzel, has Wenzel already had all 4 of his, I think? Russell has just taken a 3rd drink. So he is out running. He's very close to being done. We're only 10 minutes into this thing.
I fear for any of their competitors later in the race if they've already downed them that quickly. But this is Levi Wenzel and Michael Ost, one of the closer battles on track right now. Wenzel has at least had, I think, 2 or 3, Joe. I'm trying to check and confirm the amount of other alcohol he's put into his system.
Well, while we're waiting for DJ to look that up, O's still giving hot chase to Wenzel in that number 4, sitting in 8th position. Trying to figure out, is that the Wonder Bread machine? Has he got the Ricky Bobby going on? Yes, he does indeed. I love it. So perfect for today.
Nothing better than a good modified Ricky Bobby there. I love it, I love it, I love it. You see him coming around. That was Mark Rondeau, I believe, who is pulling off to take a drink himself. So that will be Rondeau's 2nd.
All right. Halfway done. Trying to get them done a little bit early himself. And another car stopped. That's Schulem in the 16. I'm checking to see if he has marked that as a drink, and I'm not seeing it, but this has all the hallmarks of being an alcoholic stop. California driver taking his time, though.
Well, you know, it's one of the things you really have to work on to be able to be ultimately successful in 4 Drink Friday. It's not just your on-track action. You also have to really work on your ability to drink beer fast. And so that may be a part that these guys need to work on if Schulem is taking that long to just knock out 1 beer.
Monin just took another, and he's back out and running in 5th spot. We've still got 10 cars on the lead lap. And Latvala is in. Is this his first drive-through? I think this might be.
It is indeed, Joe. And so that's going to promote Matthew Hollander up to the lead as of now. Latvala with still 3 more stops to go.
Latvala is dealing with a lot of lap traffic right now. I almost wonder if he needs to be careful here, because he doesn't need to be racing these guys quite so hard. And in fact, they're racing hard amongst each other. That's Polini, Howell, and Schulem. 2 of them are for position, 1 is not.
Yeah, and in 4 Drink Friday here, it's a lot of friendly competition, so the rules of blue fags they're more of just suggestions than actual rules.
John Momeyer turned around through Redmond. He's a DD, so he doesn't need to stop for a drink, so this hurts him, if anything. he gets it going once more, but he's currently last on the field. Now, somebody dived into the pits, but they definitely cut across. That was Critchley. I think you can get a penalty for that, but we haven't had confirmation whether or not those will be counted or if the drivers are able to discard those penalties. Critchley is stopping in his pit stall in the meantime, and he's back out quickly, so Oh, and then we just heard Peyton Howell say that he got a black flag for cutting the course with an unsafe pit entry. So that answers our question right there.
Penalties are enforced today, but we're going to jump back here. This is Wenzel really getting tucked up behind for Michael Ost there. That's a bump draft, Joe.
That's about as close as you can get. And Ost is going to be able to get by Levi through the inside of the first corner. So the 4 gets slotted down into 8th position. Definitely got a really good look underneath the hood of that thing.
We did indeed, and now this car right in front of them, that is Manuel Hernandez, a lapped car. You can see Ost going around the outside there, cuts back to the inside. They're going to be around him. They're going to set their sights now on Michael Bolton, who's about 2.5 seconds up the road.
Got a good battle for second, Lethierry and Latvala. After Corey's taken his first drive through, he's going to come around the outside, breaking deep into the first corner. He's given enough space. Phenomenal job as he overtakes AJ Lethierry.
Oh my goodness gracious, Corey just on an absolute tear here today. That is the stuff of legends of a move like that, pun intended, considering he's driving a legend car. But no, great stuff for Corey today.
He left that solo cup crumpled on the ground. So the 14 has got to pick up the pace if he wants to remain competitive in this race. Hollander is still our leader by a wide margin, but we have yet to see Hollander take any of his drinks. That number 69 car has been going since the drop of the green. There was what you were talking about. Look at how the nose of the car just dips when you brake hard in that first corner.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, normally when you take these cars out, there you can see it again, but normally when you take these cars out on the iRacing service, you're used to seeing them run around the short tracks around the country, so it's not a lot of super heavy braking. You're either lifting off the throttle or maybe just doing a touch of brush braking. Heavy braking to get the car slowed down. That's not what you're seeing. These cars do not like that massive amount of brake application.
Got some side-by-side between Critchley and Howell, and Critchley's going to come out ahead. The 54 gets himself 11th with that move. That was a couple corners. Let's take another look at it.
There you see it starting on the straightaway, and now they're going to dive into that first corner, each trying to scare each other off ever so slightly. They're going to keep it wound up here as they go into the first part of Piper Corner. Oh, great move again around the outside.
And Howell is in. I believe, actually, I think this is for his black flag. And this time he did enter correctly, so thankfully I think he'll avoid getting another one. As we take a look at Lethierry, he was already passed by Corey, and Daniel Hindra, our second place starter, is on top of him and trying to see if he can gain some time on that number 22. Remember, he was involved in that wreck that we saw early on in the race. We're 16 minutes into it, and he's got to make up roughly 3.5 seconds to catch Corey.
Well, you can really see from this onboard perspective, Joe, two things. Number one, just how much more confident on the brakes Daniel Hindra is. He is able to gain so much ground in the braking zone of these corners. And then two, just how much he's having to fight the wheel coming around. You can see how squirrely these cars are and how much input he's having to put in to keep it facing the right way.
Nicely done. It is on his way. Ost has now taken another stop for drinks. Let's see, what do we have for him? I don't see him marking any of his, so we're not sure how many he's taken. Oh, and Matt Hollander has finally stopped to take drinks. It was right with him. We just saw him pull off to the side. Latvala is gaining. He's going to get the lead back, maybe. No, Hollander is off and retaining the lead, but just barely. It has been cut down once we get the timing to update here to about 9/10 of a second.
And Joe, I believe this is an important thing. We've seen Matthew do this at different points throughout the different 4-Drink Fridays we've covered. He just nailed down 2 drinks in one stop. That is perfectly allowed, and that is going to be a massive boon to him.
Latvala is struggling as we ride on board. That car does not appear to be handling that well. One thing we haven't talked about a whole lot is even though we haven't mentioned the weather and it is really good conditions, I worry about how much they're spinning the tires up, that maybe these things are going to be quite a bit of a handful by the checkered flag.
I think you're right, Joe. These cars will take enough fuel in them to get you through 40 minutes of racing, I believe. But I wouldn't be surprised if on a strategic level you don't decide to come in at maybe around this point and get a fresh set of boots put on the car.
So who's going to be paying attention to that and making sure to set it up? Wenzel and Ost are now fighting for 9th place. Michael, fresh off of a drink stop. Oh, and sliding out a little bit wider than Levi as we watch through the front bumper of that number 18. Oh, and did we have a wreck with the Lettieri and Monin? I don't think this was an intentional stop by either one. I think Lettieri was trying to pull back on track here. And we're watching the 3 of Monin. He's going to approach a car that is facing the wrong direction in just a moment out of Redmond.
Yeah, so here's Monin coming in. It's a relatively blind corner going through there. A lot of these long corners. Oh, yeah, just nowhere to go. And right into Lettieri. Monin able to get back going under steam there.
In the meantime, Lettieri has taken another stop to get another one of his drinks down. In fact, I think 3 I just saw marked as. Hollander is caught by Corey Latvala. He is on a march today. Oh, but he gets cut off as Hollander drifts up to the high side to cut him off.
He does, but Latvala's not letting this go away easy. He's got a good run out of the last corner. Here he goes. He's pulling alongside on the straightaway. Jinks out to the right ever so slightly just to get away from it. He's going to have the preferred line going into the first corner. Hollander having a little bit of fun with him there, trying to pinch him down on the inside, but I think Latvala's got this done. He does.
Schumacher tactics from Hollander, and he's going to come back at him as he gets the over-under, and Corey Latvala is on the outside down into turn 2. He gives the lead back. Savvy move from that number 69 machine. Oh, but he tries to pull the same move back, runs into the back of our leader. Weaving across the track. He is not willing to give this one up.
He's pulling out all the stops here. We saw a Schumacher. I'd call that a Pagano. Let's see what else he can pull next. As now they come through these final corners. Latvala trying to sight this back up for another attack down the main straight.
This smacks a bit of desperation for the number 69. Oh, he goes wide, though. Off the final corner. Can he hold on to it? Car slides. Latvala sneaks to the inside. This time he's through.
Oh, but they're playing games with each other again. You see that weaving back and forth. Hollander still thinking about it here. He's going to hope to get a better run here through the first corner. Trying to try to line something up for Piper like we saw he did last time. Gets a better run out ever so slightly, but I think he got his left side tires out onto the grass. That's going to cost him.
3rd place behind them, Michael Bolton gets his next drive through. So he will cycle down the order and then return. That'll promote Peter Monin up into 3rd place. Indra is currently in 4th position behind them. But as we watch our leaders, they've now got Mark Rondeau. Oh, and Latvala decides now is as good a time as any to take another of his scheduled drive-throughs.
Corey read my mind on that. I was just going to remind our viewers that Corey does still have, I believe, 3 more drive-throughs he has to complete, 2 after this, in order to complete the requirements as a DD. So he's going to have some fighting to do, and with Hollander being able to knock out those 2 drinks in quick succession there, he's going to have a little bit of a hard time, I think, catching up.
But Hollander still has to take his other 2 drinks, though, so he's going to catch up to him eventually, I would imagine. Best battle, now that they've separated, is for 7th between Wenzel and Ost. About half a second between that pair. We were watching them earlier as the Wonder Bread machine still holds the advantage. Swings it down through Mike Knight and then into the final corner. Oh, wow. You talked about it before. The advantage under braking. Oh, too much of an advantage as Ost gets into the back of the 4.
And good job there from Wenzel to be able to hold on to that car, and hold on, he did. But that's going to be firm advantage here for Michael Ost. Now Wenzel's going to tuck in behind to see if he has anything, but the way Ost has been charging through this field, I think he's going to start to pull away.
That was a long time coming. The 18 now has clear track in front of him. We're seeing the cars spread apart, but there's still 17 minutes left. It's a lot of time for everything to unfold. Wenzel already 0.8 of a second back. He's dropped a lot in this very short lap. This might give us some time to try and check to see who all has taken their drinks and who has not. I see Lethierry, I believe, with 3 of them, so he's very close to being done. AJ currently sitting in 11th. We mentioned Hollander having taken... oh, actually, excuse me. No, I don't know if maybe you had told me before, but it looks like Hollander did, in fact, take all 4 drinks. So apologies for that.
No, I was not aware that he did that. So good catch on your part there, Joe. I would not have done that.
Yeah, I see 2 earlier on, and then 2 more recently. In the meantime, Hindra sits in 4th, and he's trying to overtake for 3rd position. Peter Monin just in front of him in the P3.
And that's lap car Jeffrey Shulam ahead of there, so Hindra going to be hoping for a little bit of lap traffic to play to his advantage. Runs wide, though, coming through the first corner. That's going to hurt him ever so slightly. Now Monin's been able to get around Shulam. Ooh, a little bit of a late, desperate maneuver there from Hindra, trying to go in and around Shulam. I think he's going to be able to get him now, though, coming into Redmond.
So as we were watching this, I did some double checking. The reason we missed Hollander having 4 drinks is because it just happened recently, and that means that Latvala is back up into the front. So that's what happened there. We didn't really miss it. It just had happened right before I was checking through. It is about 4.5 seconds difference. Now, how many stops has Corey made is the real question now, because he's only got 4.5 seconds over our leader. So if he has another stop to make, he's going to have a lot of work to do to try and chase him back down.
Joe, I think he's got 2 stops left to make, so this is going to be a Herculean task for our leader, Corey Latvala.
His pace, though, has been pretty good. He's been running 101s, 102s relatively consistently, but then so has Hollander. So it might come down to small margins, depending on whether or not he can make up for the time lost. As we see him cycle out of Hobbs, that car in front of him, that is John Momeyer, another of our DDs. Here we go right here. Latvala heading in.
All right, so this, I believe, is his 3rd drive-through. He'll have 1 more to do after this. Gets the car down to speed. Ooh, big wiggle as he gets onto the brakes.
Hollander easily breezes by. Where is Hindra in this? Is he going to go by Corey? I think he will.
Yeah, he will, Joe. He has already passed on the straightaway right now. Monin, I think, is going to get by him. Looks like Corey will slide out in 4th. Okay. That gives us a better measure of things, as well as the gap between himself and Hollander, which looks to be about 11 seconds, which, with the time left, 13 minutes, he's almost going to have to do a second a lap as he has a wobble like that. It's not going to help his case. No, it's not. We're really seeing those tires that we talked about earlier on starting to wear away a whole lot. It's one of the things that iRacing has put in that they want you to be aware of tire wear, and so it's something you have to manage when you're coming up through these Legends cars, and now you're really seeing it today.
And dealing with traffic now, which will also slow up his lap significantly. Hollander, in the meantime, is all by his lonesome, and really is his own worst enemy, as he's probably fighting a slight bit of inebriation at this point, having finished all 4 drinks in less than a half an hour. You can see him cycling through turn 2. And yeah, a lot of drivers I am seeing wobble about on these tires. I think they're starting to spend them a little too much.
Very much so, and they've got to be careful. You can get away with just a fraction of wheel spin here or there, but you get a little bit too much of it, and it will send you off into the barriers faster than you can even imagine. But we keep an eye here on Hollander as he comes around. I mean, look at that, Joe. He's almost sideways coming through that corner.
He's going to have a lot of smoke here. That's Russell, who just had a spin in front of him. Russell gets it going. He sits in 10th position. There's the 88. Let's take another look. Left a whole bunch of smoke.
Did indeed. All right, so here he comes lining up into the last corner here. Excuse me, that is Mike Knight. Now he's going to go into the last corner, gets it wide. Looks like he just caught it wrong, tried to catch the slide. Actually did a pretty good job to keep that car going the right way. No real contact with the barriers, but those tires running the wrong way, running perpendicular to the circuit, that's going to smoke them up real quick.
Back to our leader, Hollander. He's now 8 seconds ahead of Hindra, who got held up by traffic. Wenzel, in the meantime, looks like he's taking a scheduled drink stop. A California driver waiting patiently. How many have we had from him? He's been very active in the chat, which is usually how we, the drivers mark their drinks, and unfortunately it's kind of throwing off how many.
Joe, we've had a big kerfluffle behind. I think that's moaning on his roof.
Well, that's going to be another tow. The cars, as you can tell, have damaged off, and he's trying to get it turned over. I think this is going to be a fruitless effort, to be honest. Yeah, and now he's taking it.
I just caught the tail end of this. I think this was Schulem up ahead I saw involved in Moan. Yeah, Schulem spun it and did his best impression of a ramp there for Pete Moan, and that just sent him up onto his lid.
Well, thankfully, with us being able to hear the radios, he was not moaning about much. He just kept quiet and eventually decided to tow, knowing that was pretty much his lot in life at the time. The 16, who cycles back around, is all the way down in 16th, actually. Not been having the best race.
And Joe, just a quick update. We're going to jump here to P6. This is the battle with Johnson and Critchley. As we watch this, though, I just saw in chat Matthew Hollander, our leader, just finished his 4th drink. So we were off by 1. Now has a 2-second gap up to Daniel Hindra, but he is done with drinks.
Interesting. Is Daniel also done? I don't think we've got him marked down in our chat here, so not sure that how many he's managed to put in. In fact, I do see one long lap for him, 1:21.5. I'm not sure if that was the wreck from earlier, or if it was him deciding to take a few drinks along with it. As wow, this is proving to be quite perilous for the likes of Johnson and Critchley, but Critchley down to the inside is trying to defend as they're trying to lap Peyton Howell. Howell, does he have anywhere he can go? He doesn't seem interested in pulling off and out of the way. He's still sticking with his own race the long way around. Michael Johnson makes it stick and takes a spot for 6th.
It's a great use of a pick there, and I have to say, I think Peyton Howell was trying to get out of the way ever so slightly, but not really successful. That was a very, very wide line there that you just saw Howell take to fully get out of the way. It looked like he was trying to go low on the main straight, and Johnson and Critchley just couldn't get him.
Latvala, the last of his drive-throughs, This will put him back down into fourth yet again. Michael Bolton goes by. Ost is too far back. It is going to be, let's wait for the timing to catch up here. Right now it's saying 21 seconds behind Hollander, but I want to make sure that's accurate. No, 24 seconds that he is behind our leader. That is just way too far in only 8 minutes to try and run him down. This is the 71. Hendra taking more drinks. I think, yeah, Bolton going to go by. The 12 is going to inherit second place now.
All right, there we go. That's Michael Bolton moving his way up forward. We believe Bolton is done, if my numbers are right. And now there is a 19-second gap up to him and the leader of Matthew Hollander.
Man, Hollander has managed this one almost to perfection today, but it's not done yet. You can see, wow, just, nobody around. The cameras aren't even picking anybody up, not even lap traffic. There is one, I believe Polini, who was one of those drivers that got turned on his lid in the first few laps, but that's a little ways up the road. So we've got less than 7 minutes to go. Might be a battle for best of the rest, which currently looks to be between Bolton and Hendra. And maybe Latvala.
Yeah, I don't think you can count Corey out of this. That battle for second is about to really, really spice up. Corey is most certainly catching. We tick down under, or just over 6.5 minutes to go. I think Corey's got plenty of time to catch up to Hendra and potentially Bolton.
We've also got a bit of a battle for eighth. Wenzel has Lethierry just behind him. These are first couple of cars a lap down as they come across Manuel Hernandez. That checks up the 4, also causes the 14 to have to really catch it. Nearly lost the car coming through turn 1, and the same thing for the 4 as he breaks behind the 17, goes into a slide. Now the 14 is on him once again.
The battle never seeming to stop here. It looks like he's going to be able to hold him just for the time being, but Lethierry looking like he's on an absolute tear here, trying to catch up.
This is just for fun, so every spot is an ego boost here. There's no championship to worry about, so I think these two are going to be fighting quite hard. Wenzel down through Mike Knight, doing everything he can to overtake Hernandez and get himself clear. Hernandez has a bobble, so does Wenzel. Both of them catch the car, neither changes position. But Latvala has it down to 0.3 of a second as Daniel runs in front in his black number 71, but he's too far ahead under braking. No attempt this time.
Well, we've seen Latvala be very good. Whoa! Wow. Big tail slide there from Corey Latvala. Don't know how he was able to hold on to it.
And didn't really lose a whole lot of time. He's still with it. They're dealing with their own lap traffic. Rondeau up in front of them. Does he play dumb and dumber and not let them by, or does he stay polite? Oh, but they got a car spinning back on track. They just stay out of the way. That's Hernandez.
But that checked up Hendra ever so slightly. Latvala now is going to be in full attack mode. Rondeau right ahead of them. Can he serve as a little bit of a pick here for Latvala as they pull onto the main straightaway?
He's not moving out of the way. This is good news for Latvala. Oh, but he has a little bit of a slide. Mid-corner, he handles it well, but it doesn't look like it gave him that great of an exit. Still, Rondeau does not slide over. He is holding his position, making them go the hard way around.
And the person this is helping most is Michael Bolton, who currently sits in second. That's a big off there. It looked like that was...
And off goes Hendra with a big wreck. That sends off Hernandez and I think Rondeau. But it looks like Wenzel is back going and moving. And I think Latvala is continuing. But what a mess that was.
It was indeed, and I can confirm Latvala was able to get through that all clearly. All right, so here is the replay.
Oh, everybody's just trying to take evasive maneuvers. There's so much going on. I think they just didn't realize that they were not clear, and a few got caught up in one another.
Exactly. Just a little bit of accident fixation, a little bit of just too much happening on the racetrack to be able to keep your eyes painted forward. So we're going to reset here. Our leader is still Matthew Hollander. Behind him by a considerable distance is Michael Bolton, and now Corey Lotvala has inherited third place.
Latvala still 21 seconds back, but has been gaining on Hollander. Not enough to be a threat. In fact, he's still well behind Bolton, 3 seconds to make up. There you see the number 22 still doing his best, but he's not been a match for the likes of Matt Hollander today, who is going to get the 2 to go this time by.
So Matt just has to keep this on the road for the next 2 laps. Lap traffic behind him having a little bit of fun with him, though.
Yeah, he's certainly having a good time with the 46 of Peyton Howell, who's a lap down. Oh, and he's going to get a little bump. You got to be careful. If Hollander has a spin, that lead could evaporate quickly.
Yeah, and I hope Peyton knows that. It does get to be a very fun, loose series here, but they've got to be a little bit careful. Oh, that little slide there from Peyton Howell, that may give Hollander just enough breathing room on this last lap and a half.
Double checking the times between Lotvala and Bolton. I'm seeing Lotvala with a 1.9, 1:01.9, 1:01.9. That's pretty consistent. Bolton with a 1:01.9, 1:01.7, 1:01.6. So this is very tight in pace. Unfortunately, the gap is too big, I think, for Lotvala to be able to reel in Bolton in the final laps, unless he gets a mistake out of him. I love this paint scheme. I have not noticed it until now, but Bolton clearly sporting some Pokemon-themed livery on there.
Joe, you and I cover a lot of series, but I have to say, time in and time out, For Drink Friday always delivers on the best liveries.
Absolutely. It is a lot of fun to watch in so many ways. And the 12 looking at a good, solid second place today if he just keeps it pointed forward. In fact, the gap has gone up. It is about 4.2 seconds now between himself and Bolton.
Lotvala just went hard into the wall, Joe.
Oh, that was his own mistake. That's going to hand third place away. This happens in turn 2. This is a... You know, I think he had a hardware issue. Let's watch. His wheel will just instantly turn left. Watch this. Something must have happened.
Yeah, I just went back and listened to the radio, Joe, and that's exactly what he said over team comms, is that he had a hardware issue. So absolutely heartbreaking there for Corey Lotvala, who had just been running a superb race today.
That's going to deny him a podium, but it makes it great for Daniel Hindra, who shows up today for the first time in this league and manages to put himself in contention. Hollander, though, has 3 more corners to go. He's gotten all his drinks down. He's got to avoid traffic, though, and that's what we were talking about. It costs him some time. Bolton still a ways back. That gap proved handy today for the number 69 car, as Matthew Hollander is going to be able to run it down to the end. And as he comes out of the final corner, Matthew Hollander will indeed be our victor today for the March edition of For Drink Friday.
A great run from Matthew Hollander. Now starts to tear it up a little bit. And here comes Michael Bolton to cross the line. A well-deserved second place for Michael. And behind him, the 71 of Daniel Hindra.
It was Pokemon Go, Go, Go today for Bolton. Hindra, who takes a handy third, will be well ahead of Michael Ost. We had very few cars left on the lead lap. Actually, take that back. Ost closed it down to within about 2 or 3 seconds. Johnson, our first designated driver, I believe, comes home in 5th, with Critchley in 6th and Wenzel in 7th. Looks like the last of them now trundling across, so we're going to take a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so don't go away. Welcome back to Okayama. We just watched Four Drink Friday here with the Porsche Owners Club, and once again, it gave us a lot of amusement. As you can see, the celebrations happening post-race, and Matthew Hollander wound up our victor today with Michael Bolton finishing in second. Daniel Hindra shows up for his first go at this and takes a third. Michael Ost started from 17th and finished fourth. It was Michael Johnson who took a P5 with Curtis Critchley in sixth. Last driver on the lead lap, Levi Wenzel was in seventh with AJ Lethierry in eighth. Alexander Russell, P9 for him. And 2 laps down was Corey Lotvala in 10th, unfortunately.
Coming home in 11th after a promising start was Peyton Howell, followed by another one of our DDs, John Momeyer. Pete Pellini was 13th, followed by Mark Rondeau and Jeffrey Schulen. Peter Monin in 16th, with Manuel Hernandez in 17th, and Ronnie did not start. That
takes us to our winner for this evening, Matt Hollander. And Matt, congratulations. It looked like the leaders had pretty good pace on you at the start, but then that whole melee happened in front of you, and suddenly you were in second place. What was going through your mind then?
Well, I think at the end of the day, with as many Four Drink Fridays as we've gone through so far, we know that, the start of the race is a little bit crazy most of the time. So you kind of want to just lay back. And, I didn't do what I normally do as far as, stopping and do my drinks right at the start. Wanted to try something a little different. I wasn't drinking beer tonight, so it was a little, but it ended up working out.
So then I have to ask, the stops that you made, were those pre-planned, those specific laps, or did you just kind of feel it out and stop when it seemed like you'd lose as little time as possible?
Yeah, it wasn't planned at all. It was more of okay, I've got a lead or somebody's pitting and this is a good time to do it. I actually went the route of drinking Octavio tequila tonight and taking shots and chugging water behind it. So I found that water actually goes down a lot smoother than beer does after the shot. So I think we figured out a quicker drinking routine at this point.
So a competitive advantage using the series sponsor there. This was impressive. If you didn't have that little checkup at the end with the lapped car, you would have had something close to 16 to 17 seconds at the end.
Yeah, I mean, chugging water is pretty easy. So the shots go down pretty smooth. I know we need to send you guys a bottle of this Octavio tequila as our broadcaster soon, but really smooth tequila. It's good. So, little nitrous in the tank, I guess you could say.
Well, again, congratulations on the win, and quite an impressive drive out there.
Thank you.
That was Matthew Hollander, our victor here today. And DJ's caught up with our second place finisher, Michael Bolton.
What's up?
Well, Michael, congratulations on the second place. As always, Four Drink Friday was anything if not eventful. But talk me through the strategy of getting yourself up there into second, man.
Well, from the past, I've done a lot of 4 Drink Fridays and had lots of drinks. I think we even did the 5 Drink Saturday, which was way too many. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of do a different approach this time, and I have some stuff to do later on. So I thought, might as well try to see if I could win it sober. But got to give it up to Matt. He had a great race, and that was super fun. I think it probably would have been more fun with some drinks, but still had such a blast.
Well, that's always good to hear. So I have to ask you, we realized about halfway through the broadcast your epic paint scheme. Talk me through the inception of that, because I'm a huge fan.
Well, I guess the inception of this was I was running a certain livery, and Matt was like, you can't run that. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I've been into Pokemon recently. I think we all were back in the day, but now getting back into Pokemon again, you're trying to find your Charizards and trying to find, got to catch them all. So I thought that'd be a fun one to do tonight.
I love it. I was very much a child of that era, so I'm all about it. So the question I always love to ask you guys, what's next? What do you want to see? What's the most crazy combination that we can expect that you want to see put out in the next Four Drink Friday?
It's a good question. I think everybody's going to think I'm a little crazy for this, and I know it's a long track, but I think some combo with the Nürburgring and maybe trophy trucks or something could be really interesting, as long as we had maybe a 30 to 40 car field. I think that'd be super, super fun.
I personally would love to see the stadium trucks making those jumps over the ring, so I'm gonna lobby for that.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Well, congratulations again, Michael.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Of course, that was your second place finisher, Michael Bolton, and now Joe Peak has caught up with our third place finisher, Daniel Hindra.
Yes, Daniel, it looks like you may have had a shot, but you had a big problem there early where a couple cars actually went upside down. What happened?
Yeah, I think somebody was drinking and driving and just totally KO'd me going through the hairpin there.
How dare they drink and drive at a night like tonight?
It's so awful. I mean, three before you start, 4 during the race. I mean, what else could go wrong?
Absolutely. Well, even still, I take it you're one of the guests that came in tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome aboard. This looks like you had a fun time, and you managed a podium. Now that you've attempted this once, do you think you'll be back to enjoy more?
Oh, what's better, professional drinking and racing? That's just amazing.
I have to agree. Now, have you driven one of these Legends cars on a road course before this, or is this your first try doing that sort of combo?
This may be the second try on the road course with a Legend car. It's kind of unique, but definitely the first time I've had to make on-track pit stops for beer.
Yeah, it's weird for us knowing that we know what strategies to do for that sort of thing now, but it gives us a lot of laughs. Well, we can't wait to see you come back because you have been a great addition to this little bit of fun.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. What little bit I heard through somebody else's speakers was pretty awesome.
Well, again, thank you. That was Daniel Hindra, our third place finisher here today. I believe that's going to wrap up our interviews. If I could make one suggestion, I don't know if anybody's listening on this one. I've recently tried the dirt legends or the dirt street stock on some of the dirt short course dirt trucks courses with the jumps and everything. That is a hoot. Let's consider that one at some point. But anyways, let's wrap it up as well with our sponsors. Don't forget Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank. Be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And of course, Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. Also, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work, including her brand new album just released today. Thanks to the team today, Sean, DJ, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com or check out our social media through the outlets listed on the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next time will be Friday, April 30th at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. But we also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.